welcome to the next chapter in our range of videos. Today we're on the Norfolk Broads, River Yare, just outside of Norwich, and these are my 5 top tips for pike fishing on the Norfolk Broads. My first tip, and probably the most important one, is location. Today on this River Yare, we've got flowing water, so we've found ourselves a couple of areas where we've got an S-bend, so that means the flow will be going through one side of the swim and slacks on the inside as well, so they can be holding areas for bait fish and pike. Behind me here as well, I've got an inlet that goes through to another river system. Again, areas where bait fish can congregate and pike will lay in ambush. We started off this morning by fishing a sewerage outlet, which doesn't sound particularly good, but there's warm water coming through from that outlet into the river system. It's turning the water over all the time. Bait fish go in, get confused, pike ambush and perch as well, obviously. But so other features as well to look for are structured areas, wooded pieces of trees falling in the water. Bridges are another very good place to go to, with it being bright and sunny today. We're probably going to try and find some slacker areas with bridges, because of the bright sunshine they'll potentially be laying underneath them bridges, and it's just trying to find somewhere where you think there's going to be a pike laying under there, or there's going to be bait fish. Birds as well are another good thing. If you're looking for grebes and cormorants diving, they're bringing fish up. Another good area to find. Pike laying in ambush, so we're going to give it a little bit in this swim here, see if we can get a few on dead baits, and fingers crossed. Another good tip as well is with bait fish location is if you're staying on a stretch of river for a period of time, go down in the evening times. Keep an eye out on the rivers themselves for bait fish topping, because they can be very localised with the colder weather, and if you can locate where the bait fish are, the pike won't be far away neither. There's a few tips for you to help you along the way on the Norfolk Broads to catch a few pike. Good luck. Leading on from tip number 1, we've just stopped off here. Nice bridge structure here. I've put a couple of dead baits out. Another good tip is to throw lures around where they are. I found sometimes that throwing lures into bridges, around the dead baits especially, can draw the fish out from the structure, and it then livens up the dead bait rods, and vice versa. Sometimes I'll go for structure like this one again, throw the lures about, find a few fish, and then put the dead baits out to try and target some of the better fish. So we'll give it a quick go here and see what happens. So as you can see, it's bright sunshine today. So I've got a 14cm pro shad on. I'm going to throw it underneath the bridge and see if we can actually draw some of the pike out from under the structure. I'm letting it go down to the bottom. Basically, I'm changing my retrieve as well. Sometimes I'll draw it back slow, just a steady pull. Other times I'll change it up into a faster retrieve, letting it drop back down to the bottom again. But we're trying to get a little bit of action around the structure. If the pike are underneath where the pylons are under this train track here, then we're just trying to draw them out. The other thing to remember as well is when fanning your rods out is to leave yourself enough room in between each rod, so you can have a cast around with a lure rod if you need to, and that will bring you them bonus fish when it's a tough bright day like this. So the third tip, and one of the probably most important, is the hardware side of the fishing that we're doing today. Dead bait rods, we're using nothing less than 3.5 pound test curve rods. Line, we're using, we've actually got monofilament on this one, so you're looking at £15 plus for that. Braided lines as well, which I've got on my other rod, which is a little bit better for bite sensitivity. £40, £50 braid for that. We're trying to keep everything as strong as possible, and that will resonate down through into the rig side as well. Right, so down at the business end, we've got a sliding float on the line, bead up to a stop knot, depending on what depth of water you're fishing at. That stop knot will then, the float will slide up to the stop knot. We've got a quick change sinker on there as well, depending on what weight we need. We've got a little bit of flow in the river here today, so we've upped the weight a little bit just to make sure that we're holding bottom. And then to your trace, you want a good 18 inches to 2 foot of good strong wire trace. Today we're using a £40. Down to the trebles, we've got size 4 or 6 trebles. We've got size 4 on this bait here today, but 6s are ample as well. So that is, we've got a piece of eel section on there just to show you sort of a basic setup as such. Right, so one of the most key points, and first of all with the fish care side of it, is a good mat, good thick mat, which is going to protect the fish when you're re-unhooking it. We've got the fish care pack with us today as well, which I carry everywhere with me. You need a comprehensive tool kit for any situation, from unhooking the fish to cutting the points, to take the trebles out of the fish if they're deeply hooked, and scissors. You don't know what sort of scenarios you're going to come up against with pike sometimes, and they're essential pieces of kit to have without a doubt. Okay, so the next tip is bait, and I like to take a good selection of baits with me, sea and freshwater, because you never really know what the pike want on the day, so it's nice to have a good selection. Today we brought with us smelt, mackerel, herrings, eel sections. With the Riviera being a running river, I like to use baits like lamprey and mackerel because they're very smelly, oily fish, and when you've got flowing water, they leak out into the water and travel downstream, drawing the pike up to where you're fishing. The other things to take into consideration as well is when you're casting to markers, sort of a good distance. Baits like lamprey and mackerel are good casting baits, as well as if you're casting in shorter distances, and hooking potentials is better with sardines and herring. But I tend to like to take a good 3 or 4 different baits with me per session, depending on whether it's a place that I've fished before or a new. If it's somewhere new, I'll take more. You'll always have your favourites. My favourites tend to be mackerel. I tend to like to use small joeys as well. I've always had better results with the smaller baits. The other thing as well is to try out is flavouring, injecting them. Today I've got some oils with me which I've been injecting in some of them. Popping them up as well can be a good tactic. It's just trying to give yourself more options when pike are being a little bit finicky, which they are today. So it gives you more of a scope to catch your target species. So get yourself into the tackle shop, get 4 or 5 different baits in the freezer, so you don't get to a situation where someone's catching beside you with mackerel and you haven't got any with you. Right, so the final tip that we've got for you now is, well, a tip, maybe an edge, is what we're fishing from today is a boat. From the Norfolk Broads, you gain far more access to fishing areas with a boat. You can hire them, and if you're really lucky enough to do what we've done today, we've got one to use today as well. But if you've got access to a boat, then it opens up so many different avenues, so many different places that you can find pike and perch, and they're great platforms to work from as well. This is the Linder Sportsman 445 catch, which is designated mainly for the lure angler or fisherman, and very stable platform to fish on, and lots of features as well that come as standard. You've got obviously your casting deck. You've got your front area here, which you can use for your trolling motor, access and that for all the wiring and everything for that. Storage compartment for ropes, anything else that takes your fancy. We've got a nice big locker under the floor here as well, which is on a gas strut, very nice. So we've got a big box of lures that we've put in here today, and got some tools in there. You can as well have the battery in there for the front trolling motor with the access through from the front, so everything is all well thought about from Linder. Aluminium checker plate, everything on the front here, so it's non-slip. You can get carpets for this as well, which just makes it a little bit more warm to the feel, and a little bit better with the noise levels of walking on it. The other standard features you've got at the front of the boat are the rod holders, and there's a lure rack as well, and you've also as well got 12-volt socket at the front and on the console as well. So this is the front of the boat, so let's go and have a look at the back of the boat. Right, so this is the back of the boat. From the front we've got a lovely walkway coming through here, so there's plenty of room there for both anglers to walk past each other, and if you wanted to put an unhooking mat down there to unhook fish, brilliant little platform there. Coming into the back as well, the console area, so the helm of the boat, steering, throttle controls and everything are all here. Bilge pump as well, to just in case you get them really rainy days, you can throw the water out the back with the push of a button. Another 12-volt socket as well, and a rev counter just to tell you how quick you're going. Next is the stowage locker at the back, which has the battery for the domestic supply and the engine, battery isolator, and your fuel tank is stowed away in that compartment as well. So lovely little compartment. Then you've got another compartment at the back here as well, which you can use. The bilge pump is in the back there, and there's another place in there for if you wanted another battery or move the battery from there in there, so you've got more stowage as well. So last but not least, powered by Suzuki DF30 horsepower outboard, very quiet. I can't recommend these high enough, to be fair, but so that is pretty much the Sportsman 445 catch.